Of all hot beverages, only coffee can compete with tea in popularity. Fragrant and delicious, it won the hearts of millions of people around the world a long time ago. Although there are those who only like the smell of coffee, not the taste. And some cannot even stand it. However, there are many more people in the world who love coffee than those who can't stand it. Facts about coffee. In the past, coffee trees reached up to 9 meters high. Now they have been cultivated so that they do not exceed 3 m in height for easy harvesting. The green beans which have not been roasted can be stored for up to a year without losing their flavor. After roasting, the beans change their flavor quickly, within 2 days. Caffeine can have special effects on the brain. In particular, it helps you to agree with a statement with which you previously did not agree, because it increases the ability of the brain to perceive the logic of other people's judgments. Despite the well-known facts about the benefits of coffee, this drink can be deadly. True, as emphasized by experts, to achieve the sad effect it is necessary to drink from 80 to 100 cups in one sitting. Coffee is the product, which is the second most popular in the world. It is second only to oil. Interesting facts about oil. If the legend is to be believed, people learned about the properties of coffee thanks to goats. A shepherd once noticed that his goats, which chewed coffee leaves and fruits, were very chipper at night. He told the abbot of a nearby monastery about the amazing properties of the plant, and he was amazed at the invigorating effects of the brew. The drink was given to the monks to keep them awake during nighttime prayers, and over time the priests learned how to roast the coffee beans and grind them. Americano came into being during World War II. The U.S. military could not drink European coffee because it was strong, so they asked for it to be diluted with water. Coffee was discovered around 850 AD, but it did not gain in popularity until several centuries later. Finland is the country with the highest coffee consumption in the world. Here, on average, 5 cups of the drink per adult per day are consumed. The Arabs, who took their love of coffee from the Ethiopians, mixed the pulp of coffee beans with animal fat and milk. They used to roll the resulting mixture into small balls and take it with them when they traveled to stay fresh and energetic. The usual beverage made from roasted coffee beans ground into a powder was first prepared only in the 13th century. Cinnamon, vanilla, and milk were also added. Traditionally, Bedouins prepare their coffee with the addition of ginger or cardamom. This gives the drink a yellow color and a peculiar and pleasant taste. American experts strongly recommend not to drink coffee 6 hours before going to bed, because the effect of caffeine lasts for several hours. At the end of 15th century in Istanbul opened the first store in the world, specializing in the sale of coffee, and a century later the first coffee shop. In the 17th century, English women complained against coffee, because their spouses spent too much time in coffee houses, which at the time were analogous to men's clubs. The first coffee house in Europe was opened by an Armenian merchant. It took place in Vienna at the end of the 18th century. Each person reacts differently to caffeine, depending on their metabolism. It has long been established that the abuse of coffee can adversely affect health. In Russia for a long time coffee was considered rather a medicine than a tasty beverage, used to treat migraines and a number of other ailments. To be more precise, they tried to treat it. Instant coffee was invented in New Zealand in the late 19th century. Interesting facts about New Zealand. Decaffeinated coffee appeared by accident. A ship with coffee beans almost sank during a storm, and its hold filled with water. The owner of the cargo was desperate, but nevertheless decided to take the beans to a specialist and make sure they were unsuitable for sale. To his surprise, the beans were perfectly fine, except that they had lost almost all their caffeine during their stay in the water. The coffee genus consists of about 90 species of plants, but only 2 of them are used on an industrial scale. The most common coffee species is Arabica, 69% of world production, followed far behind by Robusta, 29%, and the other varieties account for only 2% of the world's coffee production. A coffee tree grows and bears fruit for about 60 to 70 years, and up to 1,500 berries can be harvested from a tree annually. The main coffee producers on Earth are Brazil, Vietnam, and Colombia. Interestingly, the workers of Brazilian plantations collect not only ripe berries, but all fruits without exception. Sometimes they use a pneumatic device that shakes the branches of the coffee trees so that the berries fall to the ground. See interesting facts about Vietnam. The most expensive coffee on the planet, Kopi Luwak, undergoes an extremely peculiar processing. The coffee beans pass through the gastrointestinal tract of the musangs, and then they are harvested to make coffee. There is also the black ivory variety, which is obtained by passing the beans through the body of elephants. There are 4 degrees of coffee roasting. The lightest is called Scandinavian, the darkest Italian. In Uganda, green coffee beans are mixed with sweet herbs and various spices, dried and hung in special bags around the house. Such bags serve as both a decoration and a talisman. In every country, different components are added to coffee. In Italy, sugar; in Mexico, cinnamon; in Germany and Switzerland, hot chocolate; in Belgium, they drink it with chocolate. In Ethiopia, they add salt to coffee; in Morocco, pepper. Coffee is grown by 25 million farmers all over the world. In many places, it is still harvested exclusively by hand. Coffee is a great motivator for people who like to be lazy. For such people, coffee is an excellent stimulant, but for workaholics it is contrary, because it produces the opposite effect. The taste of a drink made from the leaves of a coffee tree is no less interesting than the taste of a drink made from its beans. The tea which can be brewed from coffee leaves is not as strong as coffee itself, but it has a rich flavor without the usual tea bitterness. Coffee contains over 1,200 chemical compounds, more than half of which are responsible for the taste of the beverage. Natural coffee reduces the likelihood of kidney stones and bladder cancer. In the 16th century, when coffee first appeared in Italy, the priests tried to ban it. But Pope Clement VII, an avid coffee drinker, revoked the ban in 1600. There are about 3 billion coffee trees in Brazil alone.